Hello guys, welcome back. Welcome back on my YouTube channel, guys. Thank you for liking, for subscribing on my YouTube channel, as well as watching my content. So I'm just gonna talk about the fact that everything is spiritual. Our existence, life itself, it's spiritual. So I'm just gonna go deep. So guys, it's quite cold. It's autumn on this side, but it's I feel like it's winter is entering, so it's quite cold, and I've been postponing to make this because of wow, but I feel like I'm becoming more lazy, and I don't like that. I definitely don't like that. So I'm just gonna talk about the fact that I just finished eating, so oh Babylon. So I'm just gonna talk about life itself is spiritual. So everything is spiritual. Money is spiritual. Sex is spiritual. Your existence is spiritual. Your soul is spiritual. Every fucking thing is spiritual. Even your environment is spiritual. The relationship you have with people, the relationship you have with people, uh my heart just jumped. Okay, the relationship you have with people, the relationship you have with yourself, the relationship you have with how you actually view things in life, it's spiritual. It's all spiritual. The things that are actually happening to you, whether they're good or bad, they're all spiritual. Everything, every fucking our own existence itself is spiritual. So I'm just gonna go deep on this. Kind of hate that sound. Okay, let me just. So everything is spiritual. So like I feel like this topic will make sense to someone who actually who wanna go deep spiritually, or maybe who already on the journey. And because sometimes we tend to move away from our soul because of things that are actually happening to us or happen to us, and all our soul is God, is partially God, because at the end of the day God is above everything. So our soul is partially of what of God's creation. So some people say, oh, do I mirror? I don't like, I'm not like into religion, so I came across a lot of people who say things like we're a mirror of God. So it's something, I think it's something way somewhere in the Bible, because there are a lot of people who say that most of the time they come across as Christian. So it's something like that. Everything, every fucking thing in our existence is spiritual. So um the only time that we tend to, like, I felt distracted, honestly. I didn't like that sound. It sounded like a gun or something. Okay, our own existence is a redemption. It's a redemption itself. So we all here on earth to evolve spiritual. We're here on earth to be able to. There's something that I read on a Vedic literature where they said, oh fuck, they said the reason that we come back on earth is because of the fact that we were not yet accepted on the spiritual world, due to whatever, maybe like we were assigned, like obviously when we come on earth we are assigned assignment that we are supposed to be doing on earth. Maybe like they will say something like a redemption, like in your process of redemption before we okay, like before we come on earth we talk to God first. Like I don't know, like I feel like it's too mystical, but at the end of the day, it's the truth. Everything that is mystical is the truth. I don't understand why society always run away from mystical things, and I feel like that's what's mostly wrong about our society, because they tend to act like we are not souls. They act like our own existence is based on how physically, not our soul. It doesn't nurture our soul, and everything that is created outside of ourself is, it doesn't nurture our soul. Because everything, I've never, even church itself, as much as the principles in it, there is something just off about everything, because they don't nurture most of the time. So, and mystical things seem as crazy, because right now I know I'm gonna sound crazy. Always been sounding crazy, yes. So yeah, I'm just gonna talk about the fact that before we come on earth, we had a conversation with God. Obviously, we don't remember that. We will never remember that unless they allow you, because I don't remember anything about my past life. I don't remember anything about the assignment that I've been told what to do. Instead, the more I go through life, the more I don't shy away from experience, the more I don't shy away from everything that is, even if it things that are actually heavy, that are heavy on my soul, that are heavy in terms of like I feel like I need to run away, because it's too much. I just realized, see why. So everything like that happened, even if it's something that is not pleasant, I feel like it's fated. Most of the things that are happening in your life are fated. And the more you are aware, the more coincidence that are actually happening that will make you see that everything is connected. Even the people that you meet, they're connected. Sometimes you're gonna just meet someone, maybe like, let's say you are in a process, maybe you're outside, let's say you're in outside court or outside in a park, and then maybe you're having a property issue, and then the next thing, that somehow you ended up coming across someone who's into property, or who know a lot of things about property. Like, it's coincidentally, everything that happened is considered. Even people that you dated, even people, your friends that you met. For example, I'm gonna talk about the coincidence like happened with previous people in my life. Like, I remember, I'm just gonna make an example of what this girl that I actually met. Yeah, this girl I actually met in university. I never like her. Like, literally, my spirit never like, because I never like her. I used to avoid her. I used to avoid making conversation with her. And eventually, later on, we ended up having no, like, do you know when you're trying to run away from someone? That person was a painful experience, and my soul was avoiding that person before the experience happened, because I felt genuinely that this person is not a good person, and this person is not going to be good for me. And then I was running away from her, experiencing her. This is something that I've noticed, even if like, even if the experience is unpleasant, sometimes things are considered, some things that you can't just run away from it. And like, yeah, you can't. So this friend, like, we ended up being on the same bus, and as we were on the same bus, we ended up sitting like together. And you know what happened? She was wearing the same top as I am, and this top was way old. It was not longer in store and everything. And then she was wearing it, and mind you, she kept on trying to approach me, but you know, I was kind of like hesitant to get to know her and stuff. And then eventually I said, and then I was wearing like a jacket, but underneath I was wearing the same t-shirt as her. And I don't know how what happened. And then she talked to me, and then when I turned, it's like, wow, you're wearing the same top as me. And she was wearing the same top. And I was like, okay. And then the more she talked about people that I know. But, you know, like, she like, we were from different school, from different city and stuff, but we happened to be on the same like same university. As we're on the same university, like, so much things were coincidentally, to the point that I was like, maybe I'm too, ended up like maybe my standard is too high. And because I'm always on the I'm always on the what the fuck I'm always on my walls are too high. Let me just say that. Like, I tend to just always on the protecting mode, because like I just feel like it's safe that way, but at the same time I just know that it's boundaries that we need the most, rather than our own closing our own heart, because I don't believe closing our own heart is a healthy way, a healthy approach into life. As long as like when you're actually, your heart's supposed to be open, because everything flowed through your heart, everything happened to your heart. I know, like a lot of people like who are demonic, they always interpret that wrong. Let me just be honest, you're demonic if you interpret that saying wrong. That say protect your own heart. A lot of people think protecting your own heart, that means you're supposed to close your own heart, hate other people, or closing your own heart means you're not supposed to be open. You're not supposed to open it. But all along, for me personally, I interpret it as just like use discernment. I always interpret it as use discernment, because if we don't use discernment, we never know what's gonna happen, what is exactly is all about. Because at the end of the day, if we don't use discernment, there's no way you can make the best decision in life, or there's no way that you can be better if you don't use discernment, or you always close off, because every evolvement happen with discernment. If you always like, I'm just gonna close my heart and stuff, and everything, life itself is spiritual, life itself is intuitively, so you're supposed to maneuver life intuitively. Like there's is ensoulment, there's a say, is it ensoulment, there's actually a word that describe people who live their own life through listening to their soul, which is, I think, is ensoulment. So life itself, I know a lot of people are actually honest, but I like being honest. I feel like you disconnected to your own on this authentic self. Maybe it's because of a person, because sometimes religion can be abused against people. A lot of people are abused by religion to the point that they don't believe in God, and some other people go through a lot of painful experience and they're closing their own heart, closing the fact that they'll be like, no, God doesn't exist, or God has his favorite whatsoever. Because I came across a lot of things. I just know whenever someone ever said start saying things like I'm done being a good person, or I'm done, they said I'm done being a good person, I'm done, like I'm done. I want to say exactly as most people used to say this saying, I'm done being a good person, I'm done. Oh, I cut off God in my life, like the God does not exist. And these people, they have a very disgusting relationship with God in the first place. They tend to assume that God is actually, they have a codependent relationship with God. They tend, like, they don't even know what is being a good person is. They don't know what having boundaries is. They don't know how it is, like the relationship they have. I find it like they don't know how to understand the principles of being a good person. They don't understand the spiritual laws. They don't understand, let me just see, I think I wrote something. They don't understand how God manufacture a system of religion. Because at the end of the, as much as I don't do religion, but I feel like I'm glad there were people who are able to write things about God, the experience that they have with God, in terms of like, because right now I'm talking about it, and as I'm talking about it, there are people previously who came and then who understand Krishna, who understand which other, Moses, who understand Jesus, and then they ended up writing his script or whatsoever. Maybe it's him, I don't know, because history, like I don't believe in history that much. Reason being, they twisted it so much, so my soul is not pleased with that. So I tend to like stay away from a lot of historical things, not because they are wrong or anything. It's just that sometimes when I'm reading it, sometimes like it resonates with my soul, and sometimes when I'm reading it, it feels like there's something off about this information, and like it's very hard for me to find the information that I can say that is historical, and I'll be like, it's worth keeping, it's worth knowing. Like I have that I have that, I don't know if it's a disease or what, but it's something like that. So I mentioned that we're all here for the redemption, our own redemption. The matter world change everything. Not that it changed everything. I feel like they tend to focus on things that they don't matter. I know when you're growing up, you thinking maybe you in this lifetime you grew up in a poor family, or maybe even if you grew up in a family that is actually financially doing good. People assume that people who grow up in a family that is financially good, it doesn't have disadvantages, but everything does have disadvantages. Whether you grew up whether you grew up poor, whether you grew up rich, everything does have disadvantages. So the good and the bad of it. So everything in life just like it going hand in hand with advantages and disadvantages. So I always I don't like how people always assume that people who didn't grow up rich, who grew up rich, they don't have disadvantage. I know maybe when you're looking at it on the, you're not inside it. Maybe you are not living that life, and then you're looking at in your own way. Maybe your desire in terms of your own desire, because maybe you desire to have a rich parent, maybe you have desire to live the life that your friend is living, but you don't know anything about it besides the fact that they're living financially stable. Maybe they have a bedroom, and we grew up not having a bedroom. You have to share bedroom with your probably whole family or maybe your siblings. You never ever had like privacy. Maybe you wish that, obviously. Yeah. So but as you grow, you realize these people also have a trauma themselves. So whatever, even if they grew up like that, it doesn't mean what anything. It doesn't mean that they are not here for redemption. It does not he means that they are walking around like life is something that is like walking on water. Like it's easy for them whatsoever. Maybe it's easy for them in terms of like financially, but spiritually we're all here for it. So whether you have money or don't have money, I feel like our soul is the most important thing in our own existence. Of course, money does, because I mentioned like money is spiritual too. Money is spiritual too. People who enjoy their money, they have to be people who enjoy their money. They are also enjoy spiritually. They are at peace, because you can't tell me that you're gonna enjoy your money in the when you got that money in the most disgusting way. When you like, there's no way you can enjoy that money. You can just maybe pretend to enjoy that money, but there's no way you can enjoy that money that you got through being greedy, through being a horrible person, through being a horrible motherfucker. Like Inje, everything with you is just, you never treated anything with love. Because I've noticed a lot of people who are attacking me, they're financially okay. It bothers them that I'm at peace. And I don't understand why it's supposed to bother you. Why are you bothered by the fact that I'm at peace? Like, do you think now I'm supposed to suffer? Because, yeah, I'm suffering, but my suffering, it does not mean that I'm not supposed to be grateful about life. Because I don't know when my life going to be ending. So if I'm always going to focus on things that actually don't matter, such as money don't matter. It's spiritual as much, but it does not matter. So a lot of people who let me just say it exactly as spiritual people who are affected by material, a person who's too affected by material, okay, a person who's affected material, a person who's more material focused is more likely to have a difficulties in to understanding God, understanding the God's principles, what their own existence whatsoever, because most of the time the only thing they think about is business, money, and then that's why you find a lot of people who have money doing things that are horrible, such as Bill Gates. Bill Gates is a horrible motherfucker. Like, I don't understand why people always like see him as a hero or whatsoever. That motherfucker is horrible, and you can tell by the way how he look unhappy as fuck. Unhappy as fuck. Like, he's horrible looking. Like, why would someone who have so much money looking horrible as fuck? It's because everything is happening here. Our soul. If your soul is disgusting, it has start to show outside. Even if you go to a gym, you do the most expensive whatever processes in order to look beautiful as fuck. But if you have a horrible heart, there's no way it can show outside. Like, there's no way it cannot show. Most of the time it does not show. I notice a lot of people who are horrible in their 20s, they tend to have like, they still look good, but when you start to be, say, 35, they start to look a little more weather and weather. And then the more, even if they have money, I've noticed this, like, even if they have money, they start to look whatsoever, because it's show. Everything that is happening within yourself, it's show outside. So I tend to care more about my soul more than anything. And it bother a lot of people, even people that are doing horrible things to you. It's all spiritual. Like, it's all, like, for example, like, okay, like, I'm gonna talk about, okay, I told God, like, I know this journey is difficult and stuff, and I asked him to help me with, whenever I'm getting out of my own spiritual path, I asked him to help me with I told him to beat me. I said that I think the reason I said that, because I grew up in a home where we were beaten a lot, like a lot. Like, this is how we were disciplined. We never experienced these things that we see on the internet, like when they say time out, and what's, I'm like, some kids grow up like that. I'm like, like, in Africa, there are very few parents who never beat their own children to discipline them. It's called discipline. And they even say, "Oh, you want it now, yeah?" Yo, I wanna say it in my language, but I know we won't understand it. So I said that because this is how I actually know how to be disciplined. But it doesn't mean that I'm gonna apply that in my own life. It's just that this is how I ask God to, whenever that I'm getting out of my own personal path, when I'm end up in the indulging in most things that are actually not important. And I told him to beat me, just beat me. And then he's doing it, like, he did it. Obviously he doesn't come as him. He sent his servant, who actually, maybe it's him, in terms of a different manifestation, because in a dream I came across an Asian man who have a long hair, who wear those Asian outfit from Asian time. He was wearing a blue thing, mind you. Blue is actually a color that I always associate with Roy Choker. I also associate with water. So I told him to beat me. I'm just gonna make an example. I ask him to beat me whenever I'm getting out of my person, like my spiritual path, because I dedicated into this. I am devotee. I devote myself to him. I surrender myself to him because I stopped living for myself long time ago. Like, I realized the more I'm trying to live for myself, the more I'm in pain. The more I am. I want to express exactly the feelings that I felt when I was actually living for myself. It was horrible. Like, I felt unhappy. I felt like shitty. I felt so sick, and like, I always felt depressed. I always, like, I've never been a happy person when I was living for myself. When I started myself, I was 21, and then I was like, you know what? And that's when my spiritual journey happened. And the funny part, like, I prayed about it. I told myself, you know what? I'm done living. I'm like, it was a prayer that I wanted to die. Yes, I wanted to die. I wanted to die so badly, because even before I tried to kill myself, but it didn't happen. So now I was like, no, I'm praying for it. I can't just live anymore. I'm done. I'm tired of being on earth. So, as much that was a case, when I prayed, I died. Yes, I died. I died, but my dying, it was not that kind of dying, physically dying. Instead, I was dying the old me and rebirthing the new me, and the new me obviously took like a time. Even now, I'm still in that process. It was not something like I'm like, oh, the next day. Instead, the next day I felt so light because I felt like I let go. I just let go of living for myself, and when I started to stop living for myself, I realized I felt better. As much as I don't live for myself anymore. Like, this is something that I said. I'm stubborn, but I told myself, like, I'm really into this. I'm really into this spiritual journey. I'm really into this spiritual shit. It just makes sense. I surrender myself. I told myself, like, even right now, even if I do have desire, I realize those desire, it just happen like for a few hours, and the next thing I don't feel them anymore. I don't gravitate toward them anymore. So I stop living for myself. So I surrender myself. So whenever everything is spiritual. So the more you surrender yourself, the better. Let me just say, it's the better. So I'm just gonna talk about the example about me asking God to beat me, and then he's doing exactly that. So in the dream, I mentioned that Asian guy was wearing I don't know, like, do you know those Asian movies? Gosh. He was wearing this, I don't know, it's a robe or what, but it usually worn by Asian people. But that guy was a Chinese. So it came on my dream, and then he had magic. Obviously, in a special word, they have magic. Like those magic, like Goku. Do you know Goku and his power and stuff? Release whatever whatever that magic. So he was beating me with that. Like, it told me that I don't remember. He told me what, I don't know, but not discipline. It's not discipline. It didn't say I lack discipline. He said something that I was not aware of. And the reason why I was like that, I realized I was being attacked, spiritual attack. I'm constantly spiritual attack. But at the time, my suffering was around me being scared to sleep anymore, because I'm scared of what's gonna happen. I'm scared of what's gonna be shown. Yes, I do have, like, being spiritual, it's not always easy. Sometimes it's traumatizing. The things that you see in dreams, sometimes we just don't want to sleep. You don't want to see anything. But the funny part, I no longer see things in the dreams only. I see them when I'm closing my eyes like this for a few minutes, and then I see visions. And like, it's becoming more and more and more serious. So I got scared to the point that when I slept with fear, a lot of fear in that night. And then I slept with that fear. I was like, okay, I don't want to see anything in the spiritual world today. I just don't want to travel. I don't want to do anything. And then I did that like once, and then they let me go. I even said, don't show me anything today. Don't. And then they didn't. They didn't show me any dreams. And then the next day, they started showing me a little dreams. Like, they're trying to make me to, like, it's not always bad, they're trying, like, almost to make me feel like not feel bad or anything. I know, like, I'm talking like I'm crazy, but it's mystical. It's something that I experience. I have like a close relationship with God and my ancestors, so anyone can have that relationship. So as I asked him to beat me in the dream, and he was beating me, because now I'm starting to be lazy. I'm scared now of going to sleep. I'm scared. I make sure that I sleep late. I'm trying for all means to avoid to sleep. And then eventually I fell asleep. That I ended up that it came and bite me, doing this thing, like magical things. Like, it felt like a shock, like electric shock. I kept running and running and running, and then it kept doing it until, like, I was able to do what I was supposed to do in a dream. And then I was like, and when I woke up, I was like, I can't believe I did that. Like initially I was like, why the guy did beat me? Why the guy was punishing me like that? And I didn't think it was because of the fact that I asked God to beat me, because as I said, God, please beat me. I didn't think that he would do it like exactly as I said. And then he did it. I'm like, whoa, but why was he Asian? I was like, I remember that God can manifest himself in anyone. He can send anyone to do that. So when I wake up, I won't say I felt the pain, but I like, my body knew that experience happened. And then obviously I also had another experience. This time around, he sent a black guy who disciplined the shit out of me. He told me that I am into, like, it was like I was in church or something. As I was in church, but I was outside. It was just church, people singing stuff, but I was outside, and I looked like someone who was not present at church. I was like distracted outside, and then there's someone he sent, or the black guy, two black guy, the other one he sent, and then he gave me a phone. Like, they said someone was like, wanna speak to me, and then I was like, pick up the phone, and then I was like, hello. He asked me, where is Krishna's book at? And I was like, when I answered, I was like, oh, I brought them back at library and stuff and shit. I'm like, oh, I brought them. I'm talking about, it's still a dream, guys. Like, when I'm in dream, like, I live like every, like, my dreams are weird like that. So I was like, he asked me about Krishna's book. I told him the Krishna book, I returned them back at library and stuff. And then I was like, okay. And then I was trying to hear him, and then he told me a secret of one of a South African musician. He told me that, do you know that the soil, they call this musician, they call themselves the soil. He told me, do you know those people never never sang those songs? And I was like, what? Like, literally, I'm talking, it's a phone, like in a dream, like I'm talking to, like he sent some, like someone gave me a phone that someone want to talk to me, and I was like, a phone? I'm like, huh? And then I was saying, hello, 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 hello. He didn't say anything after, and then I was like, I dropped the phone. I didn't give it back to the guy, and then eventually I'll move. When I move, I was in a phone, and I was trying for almost to switch off the phone. It was a torch on. It was in the dark, obviously. The church was in at night, and then I was like, like I was trying for almost to switch off this light, and then this person kept on coming. It beat me. I kept on riding. It kept on beating me. I was like, what the fuck? What is wrong with this black guy? Like, he was a huge guy. Like, he was so huge. It was like, I felt like an ant. It kept on beating me. I'm like, I didn't understand why this guy I kept on running, and this phone kept on not being switched off. I'm trying but almost to switch his phone off. It was not. And I was like, I didn't understand the meaning until I woke up and I write down the dream exact it is. And then we're like, oh, it's in real life. I started to be more obsessed with my phone than my books. The reason the guy phone, he was telling me that I am supposed to read Krishna, being away from it. And I was like, fuck, it's been 3 weeks not reading Krishna's book. Instead, I've been focused on more on my phone and watching things on YouTube. And I was like, I actually understand now. I finally connected with this other dream, like, where I've been choked by electricity. His magic that felt like electricity. So now I'm being beaten in the dreams because I started to have a bad habit, because I asked God to beat me, and I still ask him to beat me. It's just that I didn't understand it would be painful, but at the same time I'm okay with that because I asked for it. So I'm telling you, these people, you can ask God, he can give you anything. It's just that you don't have to ask like, God, I want to have a gigantic car. I mean, for me, I'm more on a spiritual side, so most of the things that I design on a spiritual side, I get it. Yeah, I get it. So I ask God for protection, he gave me protection. Ask God for guidance, he gave me guidance. So a lot of people assume just because we talk with God, he will come to you and say, oh, my son, oh, my daughter, this is how we should be. Like, he will come. You just have to be open. If you close your heart, there's no way that he can talk to you. You're supposed to have awareness. There's something that Ekapadu said, like, it's awareness. When you don't have awareness, a lot of things will miss you. You miss a lot of good opportunity because you're not aware. You miss a lot of opportunities because you're not consciously aware. You will miss a lot of opportunities because you're intuitively closed off. You miss a lot of opportunity. Everything is spiritual. Money is spiritual. Every fucking thing is spiritual. You will feel it if you're a person who's spiritual, that something that is improving. Now you change within. As you change within, you realize even outside. Like for example, I've noticed when I'm walking outside and I come across kid, even if like we are in a narrow road, they tend to like I noticed most of the time they act in terms of like for me to be aware of whatever that they're doing. Sometimes I will know when someone is doing some witchcraft to me that make me not be likable. Kids will give me like a nasty vibe, and I'll be like, okay, like if it's just it don't have to be kids, it can be anyone. For it can be even animals itself. For example, for me, where I see dead animals like a rat or animals in my vision that I don't know, but I do know that what animals they're dead. I just know whatever that someone is actually planning toward me, that is evil, it will fail, and then it does fail. Because for example, today when I was jogging, I saw a red. I didn't saw the red when I was going. Instead, I saw the red when I'm coming back, and was like, oh wow, that's a good sign. I was like, that's a good sign. I kind of like that. So everything is spiritual. Just surrender yourself. When you're a devotee, it's easy for you to have a great connection with God. But eventually, the connection you have with God, you earn it. Yes, you earn it. Because a lot of things happen in your life. As a lot of things happen in your life, you need to grow. When you know God give you tough love. So when you're expecting God to always like be smooth with you, in everything, he give you tough love. God doesn't want us to have a codependent relationship with us. When you have a codependent relationship with him, he will show you flames until you understand that you are codependent. When you ask him, God will rescue you. God only help people that help themselves. It's true. God help people who help themselves. Even if, like, for example, you got raped, which is traumatic, which is something that it can make you stay in that trauma for a longest time. But if you're not helping yourself, we're trying by all means to let me just see, like, let's say you, like, I don't want to make example about rapiers. Let me just say another thing. It can be anything that is traumatic. But if you have a toxic relationship that you expect God to always rescue you, whatsoever, like God, he want us to have a willpower. If you don't have a willpower, there's no way that you can understand how he speak to you, because you expect him to come and put a rope for you to get out of that hole, which is not possible. So I want to make a lot of example, but I don't know how I can make them to be understandable. So everything is spiritual. Our soul itself is eternally. There's not such a thing. So I'm going back to that dream that I have of Bob Marley telling me that he's alive. Like, even today, I don't know whether when he means alive, he means he's alive somewhere, or is alive in terms of like his soul is still existing, is eternal. But for me, I felt like he's alive on earth. He's not yet dead. So our soul is eternally. My soul is eternally. Your soul is eternally. So that's why we constantly come back on earth forever redemption that we had. Maybe it's a punishment of some sort that make us not be accepted to on a spiritual world, to exist on a spiritual world. Instead, we needed on the material world in order for us to evolve. Maybe like assignment, maybe in order for me to raise my spiritual ranking. Okay, we came on earth to raise spiritual ranking, not to raise material ranking. So a lot of people assume that, oh, on earth we're here to look to trade life to be more based on material world only, not on other way around. So that's why I notice a lot of people why they have a problem with a lot of people who tend to maneuver life with that knowledge. So a lot of people they don't have knowledge, even if the knowledge is there, even if the knowledge they read about it, or maybe the knowledge was preached about it. If their soul is not open, there's no way that they can understand it. Demonic people cannot understand God's principles, God's way, because they already have a way of interpret. Like, do you know what they're saying? They're saying a lot of people can hear you, but a lot of people cannot comprehend what you said. because right now when I'm saying something, I know someone will be triggered about these things I'm saying, because it does. They would ended up being angry at me. I've realized a lot of time whenever I'm sharing a wisdom with people, they tend to get angry, like so angry at me. Like they act like I've never experienced anything. They view me as someone who just saying things from a fantasy, who say things from the fact that I've never experienced tough shit. Like, let me just drink this water. So I had a conflict with a woman. She's in her 40s. The conflict was caused by her, but she didn't expect me to to be ratchet toward her. She didn't expect me to say exactly something that she's not ready to hear, but it was time for her to hear, because she kept on making excuses. You know those people who kept on making excuses? The reason that I don't have a house in my age is because I was punished for whatsoever. Like, she didn't get a job until she was 32. Mind you, she did get a job, but those jobs were not like guarantee. They were not reliable in order for you her to do anything with them. So she really heavy on whatever. She ended up having a bad habit, such as prostituting herself to make money. And she, like, that phase of her life that she was not employed, she destroyed herself with a lot of things that when I'm saying she destroyed herself, she started having habits that are not nurturing her soul. So as she did all of that, at the age of 32, so she's been working for 11 years, I think. And as she's been working for 11 years, she's starting to have a toxic habit toward people. She harm people. She do everything to people because she's jealous of them. Because she always make excuses that she got a job at the age of 32. She whatsoever. And then I get like I had her a lot saying this thing, but when you just know someone's making excuses, but you don't not in a mood to tell them exactly. So this woman, when she started like going hard on me, I'm like, what is wrong? I always get bitches who have a problem with me, whether she's 40 or 100. Like, I get bitches who fuck like being a seer sometimes is just too much. But at the same time, you just understand these people are in pain, they're hurting. So she started having an issue with me and started making excuses about her own behavior, making excuses that because she got a job back, like, but that's not an excuse to wanting to kill people to get money. It's not an excuse for you to be involved in scams. It's not an excuse for you to run away from being a mother to your children just because you keep making excuses. So a lot of people always make excuses about their behavior as if their behavior is accepted. Some will say, I grew up poor, so I don't know if you grow up poor, does that mean harming other people? Whatsoever. There are people who don't know how to make a business without harming other people. Like, they want to trade their legacy, but their legacy has people's blood, people's tears. They don't know how to create things without being genuine, and they're making excuses whenever you confront it. Like I sometimes, like, my spirit guide want me to tell people exactly as it is, and they don't like that. And I have a lot of enemies in this community. Whew, I can't wait to move out. I don't know when I'm gonna be leaving this community. So we are all here for redemption. Our soul is eternally. Oh, another thing that I mentioned, that everything is spiritual. So in order for people to be able to kill you, they have to kill you spiritually first. In order for you to die, your physical body to die. So this is why sometimes we find people who've been in an accident and be like, wow, she or he survived that accident. It's a miracle. It's because their soul was not yet ready to be accepted in the spiritual world. So their soul was more alive than how they were physically. Maybe they ended up having being paralyzed, for whether it's a temporal thing or permanent thing. So in order for people to die, they have to die first spiritual. That's why a lot of people who die, do you know people who die, there's something that I watched, was it 1000 way to die, and the guy, you, I don't know what exactly is it, when the when ice, what is that weather where it's raining but there's also ice that are dropping, and that guy was hit by a small ice of whatever that rain, and then he died. I'm like, that killed him. Like, do you know, even some people that you push, like when it's time for them to die, because spiritual, they're already dead. So everything is spiritual. So when the people die spiritual, that's why they tend to be demonic, or sometimes it's easy for them to die. Maybe even that death, it will be that death, how he just went to sleep, or maybe there's something just happened that it was like, it's something that's so minor that killed them, and you don't understand how can someone can die by just having fighting with someone, and the next thing, maybe that someone slapped them, and then when they slap them, maybe they slap in their head, like, and then that person with hands, and we're like, he died, like he or she died. So everything is spiritual. Like, I wish I can, like, I felt like I didn't do justice with this video. Let me just go on though. Demonic people cannot hear spiritual laws, understand God's way, God's principles. Surrender. They don't know how to surrender to God because they don't believe God exists. They don't do things that are actually good to people because they don't believe in God. Most of them, they even said themselves they are God. For example, like my stepfather, my father, that man, he never believed that God exists at all, like at all. And I notice how evil he is because he don't believe in God, and how, like, he doesn't know when to stop being evil. He doesn't know when. He's the type of a person that can put his hands on a hot plate and he won't be able to move his hands on the hot plate due to the fact that, figuratively, due to the fact that he already told himself that he need to do this, whether this thing is harming him or whatsoever. Or like, even people, they don't have a stop in their life. They constantly attacking you, because, like, being attacked spiritually by people that you be like, I didn't do anything to this person, I didn't do anything to this, why are they attacking me? Or what, because they don't know God. They don't understand God. In their head, they believe they're God because they make things happen, and maybe previously they've done this thing before, it work, and then they meet people where it does not work their own way, and then that's when it start. I know some people who have a problem. It's people who so used to doing evil things and get away with it, and then when they come to me, it has to stop, and then that's when they hate it the most. How come it's not affecting you? Okay, the previous video I made, I talk about the fact that Will Smith is using me to clear up his reputation, and also mentioned that in the dream his daughter took over. He told his daughter to take over cutting on the onion, and then I realized I forgot to mention that Will Smith is using his daughter Willow to clean his reputation. I don't understand disgusting parent like that. I know it's not relevant to this video, but I had to mention this because I just don't like parents who use their kids, and I'm kind of disappointed with Will Smith. Like, ugh, these celebrity guys are demonic as fuck, like selling your soul. Okay, our own spiritual journey is personal. Our spiritual journey is personal, meaning there is no codependency. So there's no, that's why a lot of people always go for religion, because religion is a group. People like anything that is group. They don't want to feel alone. They don't want to feel to be the, they don't want to feel, because the spiritual journey itself, it's personal, right? As it's personal, a lot of people don't want to have their own individuality. They are not yet, not yet stretch it. They don't want to understand the fact that everything is start with individual itself, because most of you, you're not a twin, you're not a whatsoever. You came on earth alone. As you came on earth alone, you came to walk your own path, you walk on whatsoever. So that's why a lot of people who find some more in religion, because they don't know how to interpret things. They don't know want to walk this path. Instead, they want to speak of these principles, like principles about God. They don't even understand spiritual laws. What is spiritual law? Instead, they will read it, but they don't know how to live with them in terms of like being those principles. Instead, like baby. But this is something that I've noticed whenever I come across humans. They tend to speak a lot, but action wise, they don't walk their talk. They just talk. I'm a good person. I love my stuff, but their action is, it's contradicted what they're saying. It's everything spiritual. So whenever you doing anything, just know everything spiritual. I don't know whether I'm doing like, I feel like this video. Spiritual life is individual and personal. People who want a fast life, people who are living a fast life, it's people who are run away from their own spiritual test, because we all go through spiritual test, and they're running from away from their own life. That's how you find a lot of women marrying to men who have money. There's nothing wrong with marrying men who have money, but if your own way of living, it's like, I will find a man who will finance me. I will find a man who's gonna provide for me. I will find a man who's gonna do nails for me. I will find a man who's gonna do my hair for me. I will find a man who's gonna make my own home, like who will trade my own home. Like, I want my man to do everything for me. Do you think those people are actually growing spiritual? Because the whole point of our own existence, it's a redemption itself. It's us being given a chance to live in a soul way in order to evolve our soul. So when you're saying that you want a man to do this, do that, to this, do that to you, you are running away from your own spiritual journey, because we're all in a spiritual journey, whether you are aware or not. So a lot of people who are running away from that spiritual journey, they tend to have a problem. People who actually maneuver life on the ticket. There's nothing wrong with dating a man who can buy you to have nails, to have buy that makeup if you're into makeup, clothes, whatsoever. But for me, if you have to be everything that you ask for, everything you ask from a man, I feel like you are a most disgusting person on earth. It's the same thing. I'm just gonna call out all those motherfuckers who actually what is that thing? Housewife. Why are you running away from a spiritual journey? But what do you call a husband who actually, who are those people men who stay at home? Stay at home dad? Yes, I think it's stay at home dad. So being a stay-at-home dad, I understand. Maybe like maybe you're working and then you got retrenched, or maybe you got fired, maybe something happened, or company whatsoever. I would understand that it's temporarily. But if you have to live your entire existence like that, so most of them, I never felt sorry for women who have to, like, maybe their husband died and they stop working because their husband is providing, is giving money. I will never feel sorry for those people. I don't give a fuck that you have kids. There are so many, because it shows for me that you You are the person who want an easy life. You want easy life out of it. Want everything to be easy. So not a lot of people who are taking you is people who let go of their spiritual path, because every fucking thing is spiritual. Every fucking thing is spiritual. That's why a lot of people who are affect or who have a problem, like it's the same thing. I'm just gonna make example with Africa. Africa is viewed as one of the most poorest continent, but personally, me, I feel like it's one of the most richest continent. But they're trying to make it more look poor because they want to focus on a material world. Even material world, material wise, we are rich. It's just that we I would say most leaders who are actually, because I'm not a politician, I'm not an activist, I'm not involved in how in the in minerals that are actually in Africa. I'm not involved in that, but at the same time I'm not gonna act like it's something that I don't see. So they tend to like act like Africa has to be one of them. Like they want us to always focus on money, 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 money. And they also take advantage of the fact that we have people who are in leadership position who can make better decisions, but because of the fact that they're still codependent on other continent. Okay, I think that's a call for me to go, because we actually had electricity just went out, and that means I did suspect that electricity would be out. So everything is spiritual. Your actions are spiritual. Everything that you do is spiritual, because we're all here for that. We're all here for our own spiritual test. So when you're running away from a spiritual test, there's more likely that you're gonna be a bitter person, because you're gonna hate people who make better choice than you do, because that's when you start. People who are who are devoted to the spiritual journey, devoted to God, their ancestors, they don't even have time to be hateful to other people. But people who are like hateful to other people is people already let go of their spiritual desire, what other people have, because they make like money is the most important thing. And the next thing, when you tend to like, I don't disagree with them, I'm like, I don't have argument with them, instead I let them have that philosophy. But the minute they found out my philosophy is means I want to maneuver life with my soul on it, that's when the problems start. Because a lot of people desire to maneuver life like I do. People desire to move in terms of like where they tend people desire to move life the way I do, until they realize the way I do is not easy. And that's when problems start. That's when people start to attack you, because in their head they believe it's easy, which is not true. It's just that I make it look easy. So everything is spiritual. We are being attacked for no reason. So life itself is a spiritual walk. I wish I can go hard on this one, but I think I'm just gonna sleep, because I already prepared myself to sleep anyway. So yeah, I feel like I need to just pause. Thank you for liking, for subscribing on my YouTube channel. Bye.